Welcome back to the founder once again here at the Colombo Cooperative, and it's such a pleasure to have met a whole bunch of new people starting up their new businesses. And right now with me is Nipuna from a company called Red Apple Travels. Okay, so Nipuna, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Okay, so tell me about how everything has been. How's your morning so far?
It's been good. I'm excited to do this interview.
Okay, yeah. I'm so glad you're here and thank you for being here. Let's right off the bat start up. What exactly your company is and how it started up about, just the basics.
So Red Apple Travel is an international company. We have offices in 18 countries.
Okay.
It is owned by a fantastic gentleman called Mr. Sunit Goenka, who is based in Dubai now.
Okay.
It's actually his baby.
Okay.
And in Sri Lanka, we partnered with him. It's the only office Red Apple International has partnered with a local individual in Sri Lanka. So we are classed as a destination management company. We do inbound and outbound travel.
Okay.
And we are strictly B2B company. So we only sell to other travel agents and not directly to customers. So we do FIT, GIT, which is group travel, and also MICE and incentives and exhibitions as well. So we started in Sri Lanka in 2012 and grown healthily and well. And now we have a larger team. Last financial year we finished with a ₹500 million turnover, and we are looking to increase that figure. We were looking at about 800 to 900 million. Unfortunately, the 21st of April, the attacks happened, which had an adverse effect on us. But we'll keep on betting and we'll keep on going strong.
Yeah, thank you for that. And speaking of Red Apple Travels, it's such an interesting name. It's refreshing to hear at the same time.
Yeah.
Do you know the story behind that name?
So when I spoke to the founder, our international company founder, so many years ago, he wanted a name that will stick, a name that will be really difficult to forget. So Apple obviously is a very globalized brand, and he came up with this concept of Red Apple Travel, and he actually started this with his wife, Miss Neha Goenka as well. So yeah, I mean, we've done very well in several destinations, including Sri Lanka and Malaysia and Thailand, Dubai.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how does the inspiration come from, building up this kind of business?
The inspiration for me would be hospitality is something that's always been interesting to me since my family my father has been in the hospitality industry. He's been with hotels. So when I came back to Sri Lanka after my university and a brief stint in Germany, I worked at Cinnamon Lakeside as a management trainee.
Okay.
And at that point I wanted to start something on my own.
Okay.
And I wouldn't say we had a company, we had already registered an inbound travel company, and then we met the gentleman from Red Apple Travel, Mr. Sunit Goenka, and we decided to partner up with him, and it's been a very good decision for us, and
Okay.
I'm pretty sure for him as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what sort of a marketing strategy would you say that you guys approach?
We always go with direct marketing. For example, so we only sell to other businesses, right? So we have salespeople in India. We have about 12 salespeople in India, and also other destinations like Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore. So those salespeople go directly to the agents and promote our products as well. But I am on the road at least twice a month meeting agents in either India or Singapore or wherever that will help us bring business. And actually I've increased my visits due to the issues the tourism industry is facing. So yeah, we are looking to bounce back as fast as possible.
Yeah, and I wish you all the very best of that, and hopefully we can help you as well.
Yeah, great.
And another thing is, obviously, when you have a startup company, there's a lot of challenges that come along with it. So what is the biggest challenge that you have faced up to date?
The biggest challenge would be, I would say, to create that core team in the company.
Okay.
Like, it's never a one-man show. It's always teamwork. Your company, the people around you have to be good and positive around you. So building that, it was very difficult because in Sri Lanka, I find, people usually prefer working for a bigger company.
Okay.
So, that's always a threat. People will use us as a stepping stone sometimes to, further their career. But now I have a fantastic team and I'm very proud to have them as my team. And so that would have been the biggest challenge, I would say. And also when you're a small company trying to come up, it's just that, how do you say, it's easier for the bigger companies to break the barriers, than the smaller ones. But we've done quite well for ourselves now, I guess. So we look forward to doing the same, keep doing it.
Yeah, and working at Red Apple Travels, what would you say has been the biggest decision that you've had to make?
The biggest decision actually is not working at Red Apple Travel. The biggest decision was to leave. This is my second company I started actually. My first company I started was in Germany.
Okay.
So the biggest decision I would say was knowing and choosing to leave that company in order to come and settle down in Sri Lanka, because I met my wife, girlfriend at the time. So I decided to leave Germany and come to Sri Lanka. So that was a big decision.
Your wife is right there, I can see. I'm really glad. And also another thing, obviously, when you have a startup, there's a whole bunch of things that come into play, like for example, financing. Was financing easy for you at all?
Look, for us, it's being a tour operator or a DMC is not a very capital intensive project. So firstly, also, you can't just go to a bank and ask for money. You have to have a proper plan. But we decided to go with what we have, expand the way we can, and we also don't take much money out of the business. We always like to keep it in the business and grow it within. So for a DMC, the biggest expenses would be like buying vehicles, buying buses, buying vans and buying cars. So we do it ourselves. We don't tend to go to the banks much, but now I'm sure, with the banks are very supportive to us because we also have good business with them and we bring in foreign revenue. So banks have always had a very pleasant relationship with us, I would say.
So Nipuna, tell us what the most frustrating thing has been for your startup.
As a startup, always before you start flying, the big boys want to kill you, right?
Always.
But we always keep on fighting. We always keep on doing what we are good at, trying to expand the way we can, not look at what others are doing, trying to do something new, and also differentiate our product. When you're a startup, the main thing you can do is differentiate your product, because otherwise, if you are trying to compete on cost, you can't compete with the big boys on that. So now we can definitely, fight on cost. But earlier we had to differentiate. So I would say the biggest hurdle would have been, breaking the barriers and also trying to change the mindset of agents to work with a smaller company than a bigger company who is well established for years, So we have to be there, we have to be on the ball. Even last night I was at an office event till about 11:30 in the night in Bentota. And most of the events I try to go and make sure everything is well, because that's the thing we can do to make sure to bring the confidence in our agents up.
And what is your definition of success?
My definition of success is actually on a personal level and on a professional level, it's two different things, right? So personally, now I just have a new baby girl who's 9 months, and I just want to make sure my wife and baby girl are well taken care of,
Okay.
and spend a lot of time with them also in the meantime. Professionally would be to look at to make sure my employees have a very comfortable, good life, and also to try and expand as much as possible in order to help more people as well. So rather than money has never been a motivation. It's always been not even secondary. I like what I do. I enjoy what I do, and basically, making sure everyone around me, whether it's work or home, has a very comfortable, and also that they enjoy what they do as well.
Okay. So not in the literal sense, but what really drives you to get up every single day in the morning and do what you do?
The thing that wakes me up every single morning is again
The baby.
baby girl.
That's why I said not in the literal sense.
That's but actually for me, I like challenges. So every day, it motivates me to just go and face them head on. Like and I'm a person. Obviously we do have an end goal as well, but I like to create little, little checkpoints. I would say, you've achieved this, so you get to tick it.
Yeah.
That keeps me going.
Yeah.
So so basically life makes me want to get out of bed because I like what I do. I
Yeah.
enjoy my life and the work I do. So I consider myself very, I'm very grateful for what I have. Yeah.
Okay. And obviously, that's a brilliant answer, by the way, first of all. Let me talk to you a little bit more about your company. For example, if you were not in Red Apple, or if you didn't have Red Apple Travels at all, what kind of a brand or a company would you like to take over instead of it?
Rather than taking over, I would always like to build something.
Build something.
So
okay.
in Germany, we did this thing called an online grocery store called Bring24.
Okay.
So it's I always like to build something. Look at what's available. At the end of the day, business is all about demand and supply. It's the most basic principle in economics, right?
Okay.
So as long as you have a product that you can sell to the customers and it's in demand, you'll be fine. I wouldn't, rather than taking over another brand, I would always like to develop my own, to be honest.
Yeah, and if not for business or anything that you're doing, what would you be doing otherwise, as a hobby or as a career?
As a hobby, I love sports.
Sports.
My wife
okay.
knows that, everyone knows that. I love my football, and 2 hours on the weekend specifically goes to that. But what would I do if I wasn't? I've always been a person who's always done something though.
Yeah.
Like always wanted to do something.
Yeah.
So even now, if I'm in Colombo, I'm always in my office.
Okay.
And if I'm not sick, for sure.
Yeah.
But even on Christmas Day, I had to go to office, and for me, I want to do something always. Even when I'm home, my wife says sometimes just relax, just stay on the couch. I always want to. Yeah.
You're productive, as in you
Yeah.
like multitasking, maybe.
Again, those little goals I want to do during the day.
During the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
achieve one by one.
Yeah, so we're getting to know a little bit more about yourself. But another thing is, since the show is called The Founder,
Yeah.
if there was ever a possibility or an opportunity for you to sit at dinner with a founder that you admire, who would that person be?
For me, rather than one person, I learn a lot from everyone. Everyone I meet, there is something to learn from them.
It's probably going to be a round table.
No, but what I mean is everyone has good qualities that you can take home with you, and I do. If it was down to one person, I would like to have a meal with Masayoshi Son, the founder of SoftBank, because I like his theory on singularity.
Okay.
So I would like to get to know about it a bit more. I guess.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's very unique. Nipuna, this question is actually from our venue sponsor, ColomboCooperative,
Right.
providing modern workspaces and services for companies of all sizes. And that question for you today is, how was your first workspace like?
So at that period, we didn't have these workspaces and stuff, right? So we had a tiny place on Divorce Avenue, very small, I would say about 250 to 300 square feet, tiny.
Okay, that's actually tiny.
I had one person in office at that time, and yeah, that's how we started. Then it was small, but still, you make do with what you have. That's
Yeah.
very important in life.
And
Yeah.
I believe like a lot of people now today are very lucky to have spaces like
Definitely. I mean, look at this place. It looks amazing. I mean, the views and wow, like, even now I don't have office like this.
Yeah, for sure. And also, one last question before we wrap things up. I know there are quite a lot of people, even I know myself, a lot of people trying to do their own thing, start their own business, but they're always stuck or they're always trying to find motivation to move forward. What kind of an inspiring message can you advise them on a startup business?
So, look, for me, I can tell what so for me, motivation comes from within. So I have my targets which I want to achieve, and I've always told you I've created sub-targets, smaller ones, which I always tick as I go. Yeah, and that's a very important thing. And also honesty, honesty and having a killer product. Honesty in the sense your product has to be very good for your customer. You can't have shortcuts on those. You have to take your time. You have to make sure the customer. Ours I would say is an experiential good, right?
Yeah.
So people experience it. So you have to actually put emotion and hard work to it. If you don't put the time and actually don't work hard, you are never going to get it done. So time, honesty, and having a good product, I would say, is very important.
Okay, so thank you so much, Nipuna,
Thanks
for
for
talking
having me.
to us.
Yeah.
And you definitely did inspire me as well, and I hope a lot of others as well. At the same time, thank you for being here. And that was Nipuna from Red Apple Travels.
Thank you.